Well, good morning, everyone, and or afternoon, depending on where you are. Welcome back for day 4 of Wellness Week. I'm Laura Slowinski, and it's my honor to be here today to introduce our next presenter. Dr. Heather Frederick wakes up every morning with one goal in mind: to inspire. She does this through teaching, mentoring, and coaching. As founder of the Expand Your Happy movement, she is passionate about teaching people how to reverse engineer their happiness. Because when you are happy, amazing things happen. You are less stressed, you sleep better, you have more energy, your relationships are more harmonious, and you can set and reach any goal your heart desires. Best yet, when you are happy, your life purpose becomes crystal clear. Today, Heather will give a brief talk on the breath, which she believes is key to tapping into your happy place. I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Frederick.
Thanks so much for that introduction, Laura. And I'm so happy to be here today to share with you how you can de-stress using your breath. So if you've been participating in Wellness Week, you may have noticed a theme around the breath. And this probably isn't surprising because it's simple. We all already know how to do it for the most part, right? It's free, it's accessible, you can do it anywhere, and best yet, it's super powerful. I would go so far as to say your breath is the key to creating the life that you want. So today, we've only got about 20-30 minutes. I'm going to do 2 things on this call. The first is talk to you about the 5 basics that you should consider when you're developing a breathwork practice. And then I'm going to teach you and give you the opportunity to practice 2 very simple techniques. Now, I always like to know who I have on the call. So if you don't mind taking a moment to find the chat box and let me know if you're a student, maybe share what program you're in or what degree you're pursuing, or if you're faculty and staff, the college or the department that you're in, and if you're a guest, I would love to know how you found out about today's presentation. So go ahead and just put that in the chat box, which you should be able to find either in the top of your screen or the lower right-hand corner. Welcome, faculty members. Got lots of faculty and staff, a student pursuing their bachelor's. Awesome, fantastic. Well, welcome. The second question that I have for you is, if I were to ask you to rate your stress level on a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 is totally blissed out and 10 is completely stressed out, where would you put yourself? What number would you pick? And if you have a hard time picking a number, then maybe just think about the last 2 days. How would you sum up the stress in your life over the last 2 days? And if you're willing to share, I would love to know what you think is the thing that stresses you out the most. Maybe it's workload, not having enough time, maybe something going on with your children. But knowing what stresses you out sometimes helps me personalize the talk a little bit. So go ahead and find your chat box. And most people are, 5 or above. You've been participating in Wellness Week, so you've probably been learning some techniques to de-stress, and lots of family workload balancing, some physical stuff going on. Last question that I have for you. If I asked you to rate your experience with breathwork, where 1 is you're a novice, I mean, obviously you're doing something right now, right? We're all alive. Or 10 being an expert, this is something you practice daily. Where would you put yourself? Maybe you're somewhere in the middle if you practice yoga or have a meditation practice. So you're doing this breath stuff, but maybe you don't have a daily practice. And maybe that's one reason that you're here today, that you'd like to do that. So we've got a nice range here of people who are somewhat familiar, some people who are using the Apple Watch and the Calm app. Awesome, because we're going to be talking about stuff like that later in the talk. Thank you for sharing. What I'd like to do right now is go ahead and get started. Now, if you're in a position where it's not safe for you to close your eyes, leave your eyes open. But for everyone else, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and gently close your eyes, and let's find a comfortable seat. Most of you are probably sitting in a chair. Let's check to make sure that your feet are uncrossed and the soles of your feet are just resting gently on the ground. Let's relax that skin on your forehead. So it's just like the skin around your eyes. Drop the tongue from the roof of your mouth. Roll those shoulders up, back and down, and just take a moment to rest here in gravity, feeling completely supported on whatever surface you're sitting on. Letting your hands relax by your sides or maybe resting gently on your thighs. And let's take a nice deep breath in through your nose, filling completely up with air. And then exhaling either through your nose or mouth, whatever is more comfortable for you. Another nice deep inhale through your nose. And then squeezing all that air out. One more time, nice deep inhale, filling up with air. And then letting it go. Now dip your chin just a little bit towards your chest. And in this relaxed state, I'd like to ask you, what feeling would you like to have more of today? What word pops into your mind? Would you like to invite in more ease, joy, maybe clarity? Go ahead and allow that word to come to you. And when you have your word, go ahead and gently blink your eyes open. And usually after I do some deep breathing, my body wants to move. So maybe lift those arms above your head, get in a nice stretch, and then work your way over to that chat bar and let me know what one word, what one thing would you like to invite into your day today. So feel free to share that. We have joy, peace, acceptance. Freedom is always a very popular one. Healing. We're going to be using that word in a little bit, but as a researcher, I would be remiss if I didn't have at least one slide where I provide you the evidence that shows what we all know from a common sense perspective: stress isn't serving us, right? It negatively impacts all these things you see on the left, from learning to your immune function. Physically, it impacts us. Cholesterol, heart, it has an impact on your relationships, your decision making. I want to pause just a moment here. When you're stressed out, it puts your body into fight or flight. And what happens when you're in fight or flight is that you lose access to this part of your brain that helps you think logically, rationally, and make good decisions. So I'm guessing you can probably think of a time where you said or did something that maybe later you wished you had handled it in a different way. And the reason is, again, when you go into fight or flight, when you're stressed out, you lose access to that part of the brain that helps you make good decisions. So you may have heard the phrase, stress makes you stupid, and this is why. Now, stress is also taking up space in your body and in your mind, not letting you have more of that one thing, the balance, the acceptance, the peace, all those things that we would like to invite in. The breath, on the other hand, also has a growing amount of research, providing evidence that it's almost the antidote to all those things on the left. Breath actually impacts in a positive way everything you see on that list. Plus, it increases your energy, and who couldn't use more of that, right? Reduces inflammation. It's been shown to be nature's natural painkiller. It also will help you create space so that you can make those better decisions, because when you breathe and you move from fight or flight into what we call rest and digest, right, or activating that parasympathetic nervous system, you regain access to that part of your brain that makes you a good thinker. It also creates space for more of what you want. So let's talk about the basics. I said I was going to introduce you to 5 basics for establishing an effective breath work practice. The first is to get comfortable. And if you noticed when we took those few breaths together, I kind of cued you into a comfortable seat. If you're new to this, if you're totally new, lying down can actually be very effective. The second point is to close your eyes. Obviously, when your eyes are closed, you're reducing outside stimulation, giving yourself a chance to kind of go inside. So being comfortable closing your eyes are great things to do. They definitely will make your breath work more effective. So if you've decided you're going to gift yourself with maybe 1, 2, even 3 minutes a day of breath work, I'll say, hey, make sure you're in a comfortable position and you can close your eyes. But this point is key. To effectively use your breath, you do not need to be in a comfortable situation and you do not need to have your eyes closed, right? So the whole point of establishing a breath work practice is to be able to use it practically in your day-to-day life. So when you're in a meeting or walking across the office, when you're doing homework with the kids, and even when you're stuck in traffic, you can use these techniques that I'm going to be sharing with you today. The third basic is to relax your mouth. If you notice, I cued you to drop the tongue from the roof of your mouth. Now, instinctively, when we're stressed out, we will clench our jaw, which sends a signal to the brain saying something's not right here. And again, we've got that fight or flight, that sympathetic response. So when you relax your jaw, it sends a message to your brain that things are okay. So taking a moment to make sure your mouth is relaxed will again make your breath more effective. The fourth point, breathing in through your nose. So many benefits to nostril breathing. Physically, what's happening when you breathe through your nose is you're activating the lower lobes of your lungs. And that is how we trigger that parasympathetic response. Breathing in your chest triggers the sympathetic or fight or flight. So think about it. If someone were to scare you and you take in a deep breath like that through your mouth, you will feel your chest move. It's putting your body into fight or flight. Nostril breathing, on the other hand, says, hey, things are okay, and you go into rest or digest. So let's take together right now a nice deep inhale through your nose. And then when you exhale, exhale through your nose or mouth, and kind of doing a little experiment right here. Which one feels more comfortable for you? Let's do another deep inhale. And then let it go, either nose or mouth. Now, I saw that we had some experienced breath workers on the call. You're probably very used to exhaling through your nose. And there are benefits to exhaling through your nose. But for those of you who are new to this, I'm going to say, don't worry about it right now. What's more important is that you're doing something that feels good. As long as you're inhaling through the nose, you're going to get some amazing benefits. Another reason you want to inhale through your nose, by the way, is your nose is actually designed to clean the air, right? So when you're taking these nice deep breaths, you want the cleanest air possible. So it's better to come through your nose than gulping in all those toxins through your mouth. The last point is that you want to breathe like a frog. Some people call this diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing. And if you've ever seen a baby breathe, you may notice that their belly naturally rises and then lowers with each breath that they take. But what happens as we age is we get really good at sucking our stomach in, right? And we work so hard on that six-pack that allowing our bellies to just relax and become soft like a cat doesn't feel very natural to us anymore. So what I invite you to do right now is place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. And let's take a nice deep breath in and just notice what part of your body is moving. Some people will say their chest. Some people will say their belly. Some people will say both. Some people will say neither. If you want to share, you can. And what is important here is not so much that you're going to struggle with filling up that belly, but that you're just going to start to bring some awareness and consciousness to, hey, you know what? While I'm doing my breath work, while I'm taking this deep breath, I'm going to think about filling up my belly. So let me give you two visuals. One is to think of, pretend like you have a balloon in your belly and that with your breath, you're blowing up that balloon. Another image that people really like is to imagine you have a fire in your belly and that each breath is either glowing, you know, making that fire glow brighter or become warmer. So now let's put both hands on your breath and just try to do a couple of these deep belly breaths. So pick whichever visual worked for you, and you'll take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Think about filling up with air. And then as you exhale, pull that navel to your spine, squeezing all that air out. So another nice deep inhale through the nose, relaxing that belly, filling it up. And then exhale, squeezing all that air out. This is one of those things that as you practice, I promise you, you will get better at it. Those were the 5 basic, guys. Again, they're super simple. Get comfortable and close your eyes if you can. Yeah. Relax your mouth. Breathe through your nose and breathe like a frog. So does anyone have any questions about those basics before I move on to teaching you the first technique? Maybe that breath work put you guys kind of asleep, or maybe you navigated away from your chat box. I don't see anything coming in. Feel free to type questions as we're going, by the way. The first breath I'm going to teach you is called the counting breath. And yes, it's just as simple as it seems. You're going to inhale, and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. There's going to be a brief pause. Then you're going to exhale, again, nose or mouth, whatever's most comfortable for you. And I'm going to count that down. There'll be a pause, and then we'll do it again. Now, I always start with 3 because that seems to be a number that's accessible to most everyone. But if 3 isn't, then you can go ahead and count on your own a number that's more comfortable for you. What's most important is that you're just counting here, kind of distracting your brain in a way. This is a breathing meditation, so you're kind of getting a 2 for 1 here. And we're going to go ahead and practice this right now. So again, if you're in a position where you can close your eyes, go ahead and do that. Let's uncross those legs. Feel your feet on the floor. Relax the skin on your cheeks. And if your teeth are touching, go ahead and create some space there. Maybe scrunch those shoulders up by your ears and then let them drop. So you feel your body just relaxing into gravity, fully supported by wherever you're seated right now. And if you'd like, go ahead and put a hand on your belly if you want to practice your belly breathing. But if that feels like it'd be one too many things to think about right now, go ahead and just relax your hands on your lap or by your sides. And we're going to do a nice deep inhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, pause, exhale. 1, 2, 3, pause. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, pause, and exhale. 1, 2, 3, pause. Take a couple more breaths right here on your own count. Dip your chin and ask yourself, how do you feel right now? What word or phrase comes to mind? And then when you have that word, go ahead and gently blink your eyes open. Introduce some movement, maybe roll your wrists around or move your head from side to side. And if you're comfortable sharing how that counting breath made you feel, I'd love to hear that in the chat box. We have relaxed, good, peaceful. We're going to add on to that breath 2 things that really turn it up a notch. The first is sound. So if you happen to see the video that I created for the Wellness Week, I teach a humming breath. Today, the sound we're going to make is a simple HA or why don't you go ahead and try that with me right now? Nice deep inhale through your nose. And in general, the louder the better. For those of you who know me, you know sound is absolutely one of my obsessions. I love teaching people that their sound has a unique signature that is custom designed to bring alignment and harmony to every cell in their body. Your sound, the sound you can make, actually serves as a mechanism for healing. And I know for some people on the call today, they're interested in some physical healing, and your sound is a great way to do that. The second thing we're going to add on is a body scan. It's super simple. It's a quick survey of your body, noticing any points of maybe tension, tightness. Sometimes people say they notice something that feels sticky or prickly. So go ahead and do a quick body scan right now, just thinking about your toes, moving up your legs, your abdomen, your arms, your neck and your head, and notice any points that may be holding on to some tension. And some very common ones are the belly, the chest, and the head and neck. Although you may have come up with something else, and that's exactly what you should be working on for this breath. Feel free to share if you'd like in the chat box what you came up with. For this breath, the HA or the ha breath, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to cue you through connecting to that one thing, so that word you came up with at the beginning of the talk. And then we're going to do a quick body scan. Where are you not feeling this one thing? And then we're going to do that nice, long, deep inhale that you're probably getting pretty used to by now through your nose. And go ahead and think about that one thing. And then we're going to use that unique and powerful sound of your own voice to breathe some of that into that area of tension. Okay, and we're just going to do this for a couple breaths. So maybe I see people saying they're going to focus on their neck and shoulders. That's a huge one, especially with all the time we're spending on technology and that forward head position. Lots of tension there these days. So you know the drill by now. If you're in a position where you can close your eyes, let's go ahead and do that. Find that comfortable seat, legs uncrossed, relaxing that skin on your forehead, dropping your tongue from the roof of your mouth, rolling those shoulders back and down, and just feeling fully supported here and relaxed in gravity. That hand may or may not be on your belly if you want to work on your belly breathing. So bring to mind that one thing you wanted to invite into today. And while you do that, do a quick body scan from your toes to the crown of your head. Or maybe you're scanning from the crown of your head to your toes. Find that point of tension. Now let's do a nice deep inhale. Connect with your word and then let it go. Another nice deep inhale. And then release it through your sound. One more time. Let it go. Dip your chin and ask yourself, do I have more of that one thing? And when you have your answer, go ahead and gently blink your eyes open. And if you feel comfortable sharing in the chat box, I'd love to know if that breath that combined the sound helped you make space for more of what you want to invite into your day-to-day. And chances are that it did, because when you focus on your breath, you release some of the stress, which is taking up space, and it allows more room for what you want. And one of my favorite quotes is by Viktor Frankl, who said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. So stress will push you into reacting, whereas the breath, because it releases your stress, creates space for your response. And usually at this point in a talk like this, I have people saying that they feel pretty good and they'd like to have more of this in their life. And they ask, what would I recommend to do that? And I say, well, make it a habit. And this is easier said than done. Obviously, we go through our days breathing because we're still alive. But I know even today, I'm surprised at how infrequently I'm taking deep breaths. And how I know this is because I have an app on my phone called the Mindful Bell. There's plenty of free ones, just search it. And you can set the app to have a chime go off. So mine sounds like this. Every 15 minutes, I hear this pleasant little sound like this. And it just reminds me to take a deep breath. And so I recommend that either whether you're doing that right now or after we finish this call today, you set an app that reminds you to take a deep breath. Now, when you're establishing a habit, I have found it's always much more fun and you're much more successful if you do this with a community. So I'm wondering if you're willing to commit to a 21-day challenge where for 60 seconds a day, only 60 seconds, you focus on creating more wellness in your life. So I'd love to hear from you in the chat box if you're willing to come along on this challenge, and I'm going to tell you how to get involved. I'm calling it the 60-second happiness challenge. And the reason is because when you're happy, it's super hard to be stressed, right? And everyone says they'd like to have less stress in their life. You're going to focus on your breath. So you'll get a daily breath mantra, just an affirmation that when your bell goes off, when your chime goes off, you'll breathe that in. And then a video that's just a minute long that will give you an extra fun activity that you can do that will raise your vibration. Now, I've decided it's time for me to start being a YouTuber. So I would love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, because every day starting tomorrow, I will release one of these videos for the next 21 days. So if you subscribe, you can be one of my founding community members. And if you're listening to this on a replay, I'm going to create a happiness challenge playlist where you can find the daily videos there. These are what the videos will look like so that you can recognize them. And if you have any questions during the challenge or after this talk, I would love for you to connect with me. My email address, heather.frederick@faculty.ashford.edu. Of course, I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm new to Instagram too, but I'm also there. So feel free to reach out with me and follow me there. And if you do decide to take part of this 21-day challenge, which I certainly hope you will, I would love for you to share your experience and tag me on that social medium. So Laura, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share one of my favorite things. And hopefully everyone on the call, you learned something that you didn't know already.
Well, thank you, Heather. I know for sure I'm feeling very relaxed, and we have a couple minutes left, so I do want to open it up and see if anyone has questions. Feel free to come online or post them in the chat.
Hey, Heather, this is Trevor. I have a question for you. You were talking about the unique sound that each of us have. Do you think that that people's perception might vary, like from or would they pick up on the same unique sound, so to speak? Like I was thinking about my sound. I'm thinking, what is my sound? And I wonder if the people I work with would hear that differently. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Okay, so this is a super interesting question. I know for me, this was a really hard pill to swallow because I don't sing, I can't carry a tune. And when I learned that I needed to be making more sound, the sound of my own voice was something I actually wasn't comfortable with. Okay, so your ego is gonna say one of two things. This is way too easy, or I don't like the way this sounds, this can't be helping me. So what I say is, experience it, do it, and see what happens. Your unique sound is going to heal you and create alignment in your body, whether you believe it or not. So you don't have to believe this, right? It just happens. It is a lot of fun to make sounds together and in a group and sound each other. And if you're in a situation where you can get a bunch of people together and just say the vowels together, A, E, you guys can do this with your kids while you're driving in traffic. again, I would love for you to try this out and share your experience. Trevor, I'm not sure if that answered your question completely or not.
It did. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate it.
And as you're going on, if you guys have any questions, again, reach out to me. The app, every app, the reason I don't usually call out a specific app is the app that I have sometimes becomes a paid app and sometimes it's free. It's really bizarre. I'm on the iPhone and I use the Mindfulness Bell by Spotlight 6. But typically if you search in either Google Store or Google Play or the Apple Store, Mindful Bell, you'll find the app. And YouTube, if you can't find it by Googling my name and seeing the embodied mindfulness, please email me and I will send you a link. I don't know the best way to go. I'm new to YouTube, so I don't know the best way to find it. If you email me, I promise you I will send you a link, and I'm going to launch the first video tomorrow morning. Laura, I don't know if I missed any of the other questions.
I think you covered all the questions. There were a few other positive comments, and just thank you for such a great presentation for today.
Thank you so much. And you guys hook up with me on Instagram, come over to that YouTube channel, and let's do this together. Let's de-stress and create space for all those lovely, wonderful, yummy things you're going to bring into your day today. So here's to your wellness.